You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Saving lives by selling collars, scrunchies, and swag. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That's BARKNWAG.com to see the awesome merchandise. Bark and Wag collars and leashes, collar covers, and decorative bandanas are perfect for your pooch. For the owner of the house, we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, hats, and even coasters. We are expanding monthly, so be sure to check back. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise too, so send an email to polly@barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to one of our favorite vets, Dr. Susan McMillan, owner of Vet to Pet Mobile Veterinarian Service in Burlington, Vermont. Welcome, Susan.
Hi, Polly.
Today we're going to talk about puppy socialization. And this comes close to home. We have a black lab. Her name is Maddie, and she's 2 years old. And she has some issues, and a vet told me that it was due to socialization when she was a puppy, because the woman that had all of the puppies, the breeder, did not let anyone come and visit the puppies until they were 6 weeks old, due to in the past a family going from one place to another place and spreading parvo.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So Maddie is, when we go on walks, when people come up to talk, pet her, very tentative and shy. And it's almost, for me, it causes a fear.
Yeah.
Because I've never had a dog like that she might bite someone, which I know she would not.
Right. But it's smart for you to be a little bit afraid about that.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to talk to you about it. And also a big one, we're living in a mountain town now. And there's all these young people that have these little puppies, and they're taking their dogs to the dog park, which I've told them that they have to wait till their dog has all the shots as well. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about puppy socialization, how to do it, when to do it, and what's the best way to make sure that the owner feels comfortable about what's going on.
Yeah, you've already brought up a bunch of really good points. We think now that kind of the window for really prime socialization is up to about 14 weeks. And that is not at all to totally discourage someone who has a dog that's older than 14 weeks. You haven't missed your chance, but that hopefully if you get a puppy, you don't get them until 8 weeks. We like to keep them at home with the rest of the litter until they're 8 weeks old. And that is in part so that they do become socialized to other dogs, including, even if it's just their litter mates, they're learning some things about proper behavior from their litter mates. If you've seen puppies play, they yell at each other, they bite back at each other. If you play too hard, your litter mate, tells you to knock it off. So they learn stuff from their mother and their siblings. But then at 8 weeks, if you get a puppy, that window of 8 to 14 weeks is, we think, really important. And the whole thing you said about the dog park is really interesting, because we did used to say, don't go anywhere until you've had all of your vaccines. And now I think we're learning a little bit more that we want some socialization. So the dog park might not be the right place. But if you have friends with older dogs whom are well vaccinated, you really want to expose your puppy to other healthy dogs.
Okay.
For exactly that reason. So maybe the dog park is not the right answer. You want your dog to get his first vaccines at about 8 weeks anyway, if not sooner. So they will start to be protected. And you just have to do that balance, because we don't want to keep the puppy in a little bubble until they're totally done with their vaccines, because then you start to get those fearful behaviors, you know?
Okay.
So what we want to do is expose your dog really safely and gently and carefully to a lot of different stimuli, whether it's guys with baseball hats or old people with canes or wheelchairs or little kids, or other dogs. If you want your animal to be just really good in the world, they have to meet the world in a really safe way. And that might mean just constantly giving them treats. When a big truck drives by, you don't want to reward the fearful behavior. You want it to just be a happy experience, whether you're going to the vet. Some vet clinics just have puppies come in just for treats. Like they come in, they weigh them, they pet them, give them some treats and send them away. And you don't pay for it or anything. You just show up. So anyone who's had a dog that's hated the vet, it's something you can ask your clinic, will they do it? And most clinics would be happy to, because the last thing any of us want is a fearful animal.
Sure.
So that's one big thing, but again, all of those things also apply if you don't get your dog till he's a year old, or like your dog is 2 years old. You can still work on these things. It's just a good thing to know if for someone that does have a young puppy.
Okay. And so, like, I see a lot of places, behaviorists and trainers, and even the Petcos and PetSmarts that will have puppy socialization classes. So those are a good thing to get your puppy involved in?
For the most part, I would say yes. Almost, to me, at this point, almost any class you get your puppy into is going to be good. Whether it's a puppy socialization or a little puppy training class, I would do it, because you're going to learn some things and your puppy's going to be exposed to something new.
Great.
So I would totally do it, and that kind of leads into the whole training class. I'd say probably once every maybe 6 months, I meet a client who is really, really full on doing an awesome job of training their pet alone. But most of us, including me, I have a puppy. You haven't met Monkey yet. She's not a puppy, really. She's about 1.5 years, but she's pretty new to us. And she's an awesome dog. She's really social and all that, but she needs to be trained. So I signed up for training class. And I guess I probably know everything that I need to know about training. But, it's been, like 20 years since I took Killian to training class. And believe me, I needed a tune-up. And I needed the discipline of knowing, okay, this week we're working on this. And, this week we're working on this. It really helped me to be in class.
Yeah, sure.
So many of us think we know how to train dogs, and a lot of people do, but it's just a really good reminder to and the way I see it, it's about the best investment of time and money you can put into your dog. Let's say it costs $100. Let's say it costs $200. I don't care. You're going to hopefully have this animal for 15 years, maybe more, maybe less. You want him to be a happy, well-adjusted part of your family.
Right.
So it's worth the investment. Find a good, positive training class. Don't go to the place that still recommends a choke collar or a dominance theory. Caesar, what's his face
McMillan.
On TV? Yes, he shows all these successful encounters, and he might be dog whisperer guy, I don't know, but that kind of training is really not considered very kosher anymore.
Okay.
And I think it can really backfire on people who, he's obviously very confident, and I'm sure they edit those things too. I'm sure they edit out some stuff where the results are not so perfect. It's not considered the way to socialize, or to train. So, you want to get yourself into a positive training class with someone who seems very competent. Ask friends, ask your vet. We went to the Humane Society, and they have 2 really, really good, competent trainers. They're not kind of real freaky or anything. They don't tell you to bite your dog's ear to show him your dog. I knew someone who did that, and they swore by it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's all kinds of kind of funky things based on this dominance theory, and you're in a pack and you have to be the pack leader. That's not really necessarily the best way to train your dog.
Okay.
So I have in the last couple years, I'm kind of late to the party, I guess, but I used to wait to recommend training class until owners told me that they had a problem.
Oh.
And like, why did I do that? I now encourage people all the time, and I say it just like that. Like, this is the best investment of time and money. You want your dog to be the dog that everyone wants to house sit for when you go out of town.
Sure.
That should be your goal. And, you know, it helps to get help.
Yeah. Unless you have a pug who Chuck the pug during training was a star. Would lay down, and then you'd bring him home after class, and he'd just kind of look at you and be like, whatever.
Seriously, but he was like really good in class.
Really good in class, and then as soon as you got home, he'd, do whatever he wants.
God, only a pug, man. They are so stubborn.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Well, I appreciate all the tips, and can
I add one other thing?
Perfect. Yes.
I'd like to just add that your dog is going to grow up. So anything that they do right now, that especially if you have a puppy that's going to be big, but really any dog, anything they do now that you think is kind of cute, but you're not going to want a 60 or 80 or 100-pound dog doing it, like jumping up or mouthing you. You need to get help now, because those behaviors that you think are kind of cute now are not going to be so cute, a year from now when they're doing it to your, elderly mother-in-law or something. You don't want your pet jumping up on people. You don't want him mouthing people. You don't want him doing on stuff. You really want to learn, and that's where the training class comes in, learn how to get them to do something else, whether it's, and in a lot of cases, and the other thing I wanted to say is that if you get your animal a lot of exercise, that makes the training easier. Dogs and puppies really, really, really need to be able to run and play and get tired. Mm-hmm. So that is kind of, to me, it's one component of any good puppy program is lots of play, just like your kids should get lots of exercise. It just makes for a healthier animal, period.
Okay, great. Well, great tips. And we'd love to have you back, and we certainly appreciate your time.
Well, thanks very much. It's always fun talking to you.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.